Good afternoon. This is John Howe with the Raptor Resource Project. I'm just going to make a couple adjustments here. I think that should be better without some audio feedback there. So anyway, welcome and thank you for attending this first Decorah Eagles Ed Talk. It is so amazing to watch these Decorah Eagles and all the other live cams. What can I say about how much enjoyment we have watching them and taking a look into the lives of these Decorah Eagles and all the other live cams with the Farragut Falcons and the Flyway and all the other Explorer cams to take a look out there with all that's going on with the coronavirus and people getting to spend more time together with their families. I guess it's a get to, right? You got lots of time to get connected with nature, and I love to basically refer to these cams as getting connected, and that they're my news from nature, so watch the news. So before we get started here, just wanted to talk about what we are going to cover here, and thought it would be good to have a start here with, we're going to have a start with talking about the Decorah Eagle Nest, how that nest came about, and about eagle nests in general. And just going to double check things here because I am pretty much running everything here, and I just want to make sure that you are getting everything that you are supposed to. I think we have audio from the nest coming in. We have our intro here, and we are going to go live to the eagle nest. We see Mom Decorah on the nest, so I think that everything is coming through okay. So we'll get started here. So again, great time to connect with nature, and please stay safe. Hang in there. These are times that we haven't had to deal with in our lifetime, so hang in there, wash your hands, and listen to your doctors and all of your healthcare workers out there. So big thanks to the mods and the cam ops helping bring this to us. They put a lot of time in, so I just want to give a shout out to them. So thanks so much. So let's get right into things here. Let's talk about the Decorah Eagle Nest Cam, and I'm going to do a little bit of control here of the cameras here too while I'm talking with you. I just need to do one thing to log into my cam here. So, what you guys are seeing right now is one of the views from one of our primary cameras. This is a 4K pan-tilt zoom camera, and I am just going to give a quick pan of this nest that we call N2B. Right now I'm panning down to the ground, and you can see the tree coming up here. This is a cottonwood tree. You can see some of the cables on the left, lower left there. And if you look real hard, I wish I had a pointer to show this out to you, but right about where the black cable ends at the base of the tree there, you can see the end of a 2x4 or a 2x6 there. And that is one of the base boards for the base of the nest. And that's what we're going to talk about, is these nests and how we actually built this nest, and the eagles came and took it over. So I'm going to pan up here, and we're going to just take a look at this nest. Quite a large eagle nest, and if we look at the shape of this eagle nest, it looks pretty much like a typical cone shape of a lot of the eagle nests that are out there. That is one thing that I think is really amazing. While driving up and down the Mississippi River Valley, I do a lot of that from up in the Minneapolis area all the way down to Prairie du Chien. If you look out this time of year, you see all different types of configurations of eagle nests. Some of them are thin, and some of them have been there for probably 20, 30 years. They look like a very thin, tall champagne glass, and then some of them are flat like a dish. That can depend on age, it can depend on the structure of the tree that they started, but pretty interesting, all the different configurations. This is a pretty typical configuration that we have for N2B. So N2B stands for, this is the N2 tree area, and it is the second nest in that area with the B designation for Bob Anderson, our founder. The year that we lost Bob, we also lost this eagle nest. It came down in a microburst storm of wind that snapped the tree off. So we built this nest. I thought it would be a good thing here to show you. We have this available on the Raptor Resource website. This is a GoPro video of the nest building, and this happened in 2015. This was after the nest was taken down in a microburst windstorm, and basically the Raptor Resource group came together, and this was an idea that we had before Bob passed away, was to go ahead and rebuild a starter nest for the Decorah eagles in the area where the nest came down, hoping that they would come and basically inhabit the nest that we built for them. Hopefully man-made to eagle nest. And it was an experiment. I remember at that time, we really didn't know how this thing was going to go. A lot of nests have been built for raptors, peregrine falcons, some eagles in the early days of the eagle recovery. There's some references there, but Neil Rettig had this idea, which I remember listening to Bob's excitement when he basically said, "This is an amazing idea, let's go ahead, let's do this." So let's take a quick peek. I'm going to pull up the video here, and this is a video of it's a time-lapse video. This is going to show the build, and as you can see on the base there, it was back in August of 2015. So you'll see Neil Rettig there and Kike Arnold back in the background. We got a big crew of folks down on the ground that are helping out with gathering equipment and sending things up to both Neil and Kike up in the tree. So the structure that we decided to do here, just to make sure that nothing could fall through, was to place boards along the base and use that as stabilization before putting nest materials in there. And as I mentioned before, the goal was to make a starter nest, not a full nest, a starter nest that the eagles would be enticed to come in and hopefully build and take on as their own. So right now I'm watching this, the third foundation board is being placed and put in place. So once the foundation boards are in place, then we actually had, the N2B, or the N2 tree that came down, almost that entire area of nesting materials was right at the base of where this larger tree was. When we look at this tree, what were some of the considerations that we had with picking this tree? It was a very large tree. It had nice branch structure that looked like it was good for an eagle nest. What are some of the things that eagles need? They need a nest that's high up off the ground. This one is about 70 feet off the ground, a little bit shy of that where we started. You can see that now the boards are in place, that the sticks and a bunch of basically filler material is being packed down in there. You can see Kike dumping that, placing it in place, and then they're going to pack that and compact that down before they start putting branches on. So that's really kind of like the filter netting to stop anything from falling through, is getting that good base there. So back to the criteria for a good eagle nest tree. eagles need to be able to fly in and approach the tree and get into the tree. So this tree had some really good approach areas that were good for eagles flying in and out of the tree. They need access, so access is important. It's about 70 feet off the ground, so the height is a good criteria. It is right next to the Decorah fish hatchery, so the food source and availability part of this was a plus. There's also the creek going right by underneath. So back to the video that I'm watching here, Neil's stepping back and they're already on their 6th load of sticks. And as I mentioned, the nest that came down from N2 was right there. So we were harvesting a lot of these sticks that went back up into N2B, came from the nest tree of N2. So you can see they're making a crisscross pattern. I mean, they're basically weaving these sticks together, hopefully so they are more stable and not necessarily a random, but not all laying them in the same parallel direction. They're alternating different orientations and different sizes, and then they're alternating that also with some filler material. You can see Kike and Neil, they're testing out their technique of nest building by stepping up and down with their human talons, their feet. So it looks like we're pretty well into the process there. And as I mentioned before, many volunteers and board members and folks were down there helping out, gathering this stuff and sending up. So it was really neat how this was a group effort. So things are coming along there. So the goal there was to build the starter nest, and we'll look at some photos with just some current nest sizes here and take a look at this. But with the starter nest in place, right about in October, early October was when the eagles came back, and that was such a high point. Basically recovering from what all happened in 2015 was when we saw the first visit of the nest from Dad Decorah and Mom coming in there, and when they brought that first stick in, which really, once they start doing that, it looks like it's a pretty serious commitment from the eagles that this is a nest that we're building on. Eagles build multiple nests. Eagles are master nest builders, and we got a great glimpse into that last year in the summertime. It was an early year because the eaglets fell or fledged and were in rehab, so the year ended fairly quick compared to most years. So we had a sub-adult, which is about 4 years old, based on feather type, the darker feathers and the salt and pepper color of white and darker feathers on his head. It was a male. Basically, we got to see a nest in process being built,